Hey, and welcome everybody to the Good Friday edition of This Week with Black Success Magazine. And this is Black Friday with Black Success Magazine. I'm your founder and your host, Sherman Ray, and I'm just having a great time here today, folks. I'm really excited. But one of the things I didn't do is I didn't turn on my lights. So I'm going to turn on my lights real quick, and we're going to get started. Okay? So let's do this again. Wow. Oh, it's probably a little bit better. You can probably see me now. We are starting a little bit early today, folks, for one reason, and that's because I know a lot of you are going out to Sunday Good Friday services, so we're going to make sure we're going to get you out there today. But we wanted to do a review of the week's top stories, and I'll tell you, as I was doing my show prep today, I'll tell you, some of these stories, if you had not gotten to see them, are going to floor you. And I'm going to go through a few of them. I've been doing my show prep today as we kind of were ending our week here at the shop, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. If you do want to join in on the conversation, Rosella, thank you for being a part of the show. These are my books, and many of these books here are, I would say, probably got me to where I'm at now. I've got to admit this. Some of these books are on leadership, business for sure. Many of you know that I'm a restaurateur or a coffee shop owner, and I've got books on how to start a coffee shop, and I read those years before I opened up. So these are not going anyplace; they're in my heart. So if you can tell, folks, I am actually in a conversation because not only are we taping this to put on our website and on our YouTube channel, but we're also taping this and we're doing live on Facebook Live. So if you've got a question you'd like to get in on it, I can see your questions. I'll try to answer them and as soon as I get a break and stuff like that. We've got a new camera that we're working with here at the shop, and you can't see it if you're on Facebook Live, but back here we've got some new technology, so I hope that it's looking good. Hope it's clear, and I hope it works the entire show. So there were quite a few articles that we were going to look at today, and I want to start with one. It's called Sales Lessons from a Solopreneur or Solo Entrepreneur Dad upon his retirement. And this one's actually taken from Entrepreneur Magazine, and I think we got this one early on during the week, and it was Monday. And this guy named Greg Schwartz, who is the writer of this article, was talking about his dad and how his dad was a solo entrepreneur, and many of us are solo entrepreneurs, and what that means is you don't have anybody working for you. But he learned some great lessons from him as his dad was retiring. And I just want to pass on a couple of those things that he learned from his dad. And number one was that he said his dad was persistent. He says, my dad started his business just by showing up. He kept going to the same gas stations, mechanics, and auto service centers, introducing himself and offering to help with their auto parts supply needs. And he made a habit of showing up on a regular basis, and he just kept showing up. And this is important, folks, that we as entrepreneurs, that we just show up. And I've built several networking groups, and the one thing that I believe is a key to building any kind of business or any kind of venture that you go into is just being consistent, being persistent. And people like that. You probably have seen many of the TV shows that we all watch on a weekly basis, and they're generally on at the same time. And there's a reason for that. Okay, it's not because of a scheduling thing. It's because people like consistency. They like to see the same thing over and over and over again at the same time, same quality, and that is something that you want to do as a solo entrepreneur. Is just be persistent, be consistent, and these are great parts. Number two, his dad said, he says, you run your business your own way. He said his dad had quite a unique business. He was a solo entrepreneur before that word was popular, and the business was just him for 43 years. This almost goes contrary to so many businesses today that are so focused on growth and expansion and year-over-year increases. He said he never had an employee, and he was very content that way. He just wanted to do his own thing. Okay, he could have hired employees, made more money, had a fleet of trucks and a network of auto parts suppliers, and really scaled the business. But he valued his quality of life. And this is interesting. He said he loved his work-life balance. Many of us don't know what that is. I personally don't know what that is, a work-life balance. I love what I do. I mean, I really do. I love being out there. I love being at work. I love being in the whole mix of the whole thing. And since my kids are all grown right now, it works out great for me because I can just do this all the time. The key to the whole thing is, though, is that you need to have a balance in life. And this guy said that you really wanted to have that work-life balance. And the next tip, he said he wanted to focus on relationships. And this is probably going to be one of the most key things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to tilt this just a little bit here. Oh, let's see if I can tilt this down just a little bit. There we go. He said he focused on relationships. One of the secrets of my dad's success was realizing that customer relationships are crucially important. Nowadays, it seems like everything is so transactional, and everyone's trying to compete on price. He said his dad made sure to treat all of his accounts like family, and his clients never left him. And many of you probably can understand this, that you've got people that will stick with you forever if you treat them right. But if you don't treat them right, they're just not gonna be with you. We've had our restaurant now for about 5 years, and we have people here every single day. Some of them 2 or 3 times a day. We know some of them are going to be here on Saturdays. We know some of them are going to be here on Tuesdays. Some of them are going to be here at such and such a time. And the reason why they do is because we have built a relationship with those people. Some of them we've actually seen their children being born into the world. One of them is actually a barista now with us, and she's actually one of our managers. That we knew her before she was married. We knew her before she was pregnant. Now she's a mom, she has a child, and now she works with us, and she's part of our family. And that's really important, folks, is that we treat our people like family, focus on relationships. So if you're on your success journey, keep that in the back of your mind, is to treat your people like family, and guess what? You'll have customers for life. And that's a great way of looking at the world. So let's look at our next article. And it was how to make great impact and make a great impression on people in the first 7 seconds that you meet people. This is huge, because I know we all walk around with these preconceived notions of what is going on, what people are thinking, and what they're going to think of us. And by and large, most of those people are thinking about themselves. I mean, they really are. Think about it. Most people are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves and what's going on in their lives, and they're thinking about what you're thinking about them if you're thinking about them. And yet, we can still have a huge impression on people and people will make a decision about you literally within the first couple of seconds of meeting you. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to make a great impression on people within the first 7 seconds. So, first one, project warmth. Okay, project warmth. Giving the right signals early in a relationship is important. Make eye contact. Okay, we've probably all seen these kind of people. When they shake your hands, they're kind of going like this, and they kind of give you that limp noodle type thing. Not good. This is not a great way to make a relationship with somebody, or your first impression with people is to kind of give them that limp wrist thing. Hi, how are you doing? And you're looking off. Okay, we see people on a daily basis who not only you get an impression about them when you first see them, but sometimes it's not the best impression, because they come in, and we'll talk a little bit later about a phenomenon called phubbing, And I don't know if any of you have heard of phubbing, but it's very interesting and something you want to never ever do. Okay, but we'll talk about that. But project warmth. You got to project warmth. Make eye contact. Smile when appropriate, and acknowledging comments. Being present in conversations. Listening without interrupting. How many of you have ever seen that before? Where people are just interrupting you every couple of seconds because, once again, they've got something they want to talk about. They've got their own agenda, and many of you have read the book by Dale Carnegie, and it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the first books I ever read on self-motivation and on self-improvement, that kind of stuff. And one of the first things it talks about is it said, listen to people. That's why the Lord gave you one mouth, two ears, okay? Because he wants you to listen. And if you're always interrupting people, that's really a bad way to make a first impression. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Being a person of your word creates a foundation of where trust is fostered and collaborative partnerships are formed. So, projecting warmth. Number 2, over-deliver. So, demonstrating how instrumental you are. Every opportunity is gold. Go beyond any expectations. Give without being asked, and detach from the outcome or wanting something in return. In essence, it's saying be a servant. Have a servant's heart. Now, this is interesting. I started an organization called the Las Vegas Black Business Directory, and the reason why I started that organization was for one reason, and that was to connect